What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about the New York Football Giants and some of the news, that's trickling out, whether you believe it or not, with the NFL Draft just only 2 days away. On Thursday, this Thursday, on 8 p.m. on ABC, NFL Network, ESPN, wherever you want to get it, that's where you're going to have it. Now, obviously, the New York Giants made a move yesterday where they signed defensive tackle A'Shawn Robinson to a 1-year, $4 million deal, which can be worth up to $8 million going into the season. And obviously, this isn't the only move the Giants made on the defensive line, as, of course, earlier on in free agency, they added a defensive tackle formerly of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Raheem Nunez-Roches, to a 3-year, $12 million deal, so to add some more much-needed beef to that defensive line group going into the season. One of the questions now that has been asked by some Giants fans, what does this do for defensive tackles Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams? In terms of Dexter Lawrence, I think that has absolutely nothing to worry about with him. I think the Giants are going to give him his extension. Art Stapleton, Jordan Renan, Dan Dugan, everybody's been saying he's going to get his extension for probably around $22 to $24 million per season. It's just the Giants are right now in concentration of taking care of the NFL draft stuff, and they're going to worry about getting an extension done with Dexter Lawrence in the near future. So that will get done eventually, but right now it's not of the high priority for Big Blue at the moment. In terms of Leonard Williams, that's the bigger story right now because Giants do have a lot of strong depth on the defensive line, and I still believe in a way the Giants will work out some type of a long-term extension with Leonard Williams going into the 2023 season. But at the same time, we'll have to see how this is going to play out because with the Giants at the moment, Leonard Williams is going into the season and he's expected to make $32 million on his current deal for this upcoming 2023 season. And we all know for a fact the Giants are probably not going to want Leonard Williams to be on that type of number, that cap number going into the season. So it only leaves, of course, like we mentioned, 4 options open for Big Blue to work with on this deal. And that is, of course, you renegotiate a new contract or an extension, you try to give him a pay cut, you restructure his deal, or you do an outright trade or release. I think that the Giants would most likely like to work on some type of extension where at least you spread that cap number over the next year or two, however many years you want to give an extension on his deal currently. He is 28 years old. He has dealt with some wear and tear over the last season and a half. Obviously, last year he dealt with a lot of injuries. Last year he missed quite a few games. He only had a sack and a half in the season. He played, I believe, only in 10 games with the New York Giants. Missed time due to a shoulder injury, missed time due to a neck injury, as well as he missed time due to a sprained MCL. So, what kind of deal does the Giants want to give somebody like Leonard Williams, obviously coming off some major injuries during the season? I think the Giants, because of the fact that they do have some security with the defensive line depth, maybe they could dangle Leonard Williams in any type of deal if it presents itself in the NFL draft, if they want to try to acquire some future picks going forward, and if they believe that Leonard Williams is not going to be part of the solution, and also because of the fact they can always get themselves another defensive tackle in one of the mid-rounds going into this draft. Or they feel like, you know what, maybe we can get ourselves a Kalijah Kancey, or if he somehow drops, a Jalen Carter. If somehow this guy drops, which of course they had a lot of the red flags that were happening just a few weeks ago, maybe it's possible Jalen Carter ends up dropping down on the draft boards. So you don't know what could be the case, but either way, this could be something to really monitor going into the rest of this offseason is what could happen with Jalen Carter. But I think ultimately the Giants might explore a trade with Leonard Williams, but I think the best solution is trying to see if they can work out either a restructure or trying to work out an extension with Leonard Williams to keep him on the team, and then that way you have 4 or 5 deep on the defensive interior line, where you already got Raheem Nunez-Roches and A'Shawn Robinson there. You obviously have Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams currently is entrenched as the two starting guys on the defensive tackle position. And then you have a returning DJ Davidson, who is recovering from an ACL tear that he suffered during the 5th game of the NFL season against the Green Bay Packers down in London, England. So, we'll have to wait what the New York Giants are going to do about this current situation with Leonard Williams. That's definitely going to be one thing to monitor. One other thing that I want to talk about real quickly is that the Giants are apparently high, very high, on a wide receiver coming into this NFL draft who they might have interest in drafting in the 2nd or 3rd round of this upcoming NFL draft. So that would obviously be in day 2 on Friday. The wide receiver that they have much interest in is actually a former teammate of Darian Beavers, and that is Tim Scott. 5'10", 177-pound wide receiver out of the University of Cincinnati. And according to Lance Zierlein of the NFL Network, he compares Scott to former Indianapolis Colts 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver T.Y. Hilton because of the fact that he has elite blazing speed, and he ran about a 4.44 at the combine during the 40-yard dash overall, and he sizes up as another slot receiver. That gives me a little bit of pause because he is a slot receiver, but at the same time, Giants right now don't care about the size. They don't care about anything. They just want to see how you could separate from the defenders on the offense. So if he's able to put in there as a slot receiver, and also with the fact you have your 2 current slot receivers on the team in Sterling Shepard and Wan'Dale Robinson, both of them looking like they're going to be on the PUP list to start the season, maybe you look at a guy like Tim Scott to throw in there as the slot wide receiver going forward, and he could be a guy you could really take advantage of his speed on the inside and being able to separate from defenders and break away, having that breakaway speed for the New York Giants and giving Daniel Jones another option in the middle of the football field going into the 2023 season. So that's another thing to really operate and monitor going into the season. I like Tim Scott a lot. I think he'd be a very underrated pickup if the Giants can get him in the 2nd or 3rd round. Obviously, he's not going to, jump off the page like some of the top wide receivers in this draft. Like an Addison, like a Johnson, like a Flowers, like a Downs, or a Rashee Rice, Hutchinson, Mingo, Washington, Dumas, all these other guys in the draft. But Tim Scott does have speed, and speed kills, especially if you know how to create separation as well and be a good average breakaway guy in the slot going forward. So just wanted to give you guys that little update there around the New York Football Giants in terms of Leonard Williams and what this whole situation after they signed Wan'Dale Robinson, A'Shawn Robinson in the offseason, what it might mean for a guy like Leonard Williams going into the NFL season, and if he could be a potential trade candidate going into the NFL draft on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, as well as wide receiver Tim Scott seemed to be very high on the New York Football Giant list going into this NFL draft, and he could potentially be a guy the Giants could target in the NFL draft due to the injuries to Sterling Shepard and Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot position. And also, FanDuel and DraftKings just dropped a report saying that it looks like right now the Giants might be leaning towards cornerback with their first overall pick at pick number 25 in the NFL draft, which I would not complain about at all if that ends up being the case. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and make sure you give a sub to NYG Jeffy T85. More news updates and chatter surrounding the New York Football Giants. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And you guys let me know in the comment section what you think about the New York Football Giants and what they might do with Leonard Williams going into the rest of this offseason. And if you think drafting a guy like Tim Scott in the middle rounds, it's in the 2nd or 3rd round, would be a good acquisition to help out the wide receiver core going into the 2023 NFL season. And if you agree with the new outlook from DraftKings and FanDuel about a cornerback looking like to be the top option right now for the Giants in terms of being the guy to draft going into this upcoming NFL draft on April 27th to the 29th. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Take it easy, and let's go New York Football Giants as always. Together Blue, everyone.